information is free.
The law.
There is hope.
My life changed in driver's education. It would be a brand new sensation. Finally, I proved that I am a man taking matters into my own hands. Teacher said there'd be a film. Then she turned out the lights. First I saw a car grill. Then my girl turned pale white. It was blood on the pavement. Blood on the pavement. Blood on the pavement. It was a film from circa 1962. Said now in color, but the sky wasn't quite blue. Fast moving car, an old lady crossing the street. Screeching brakes, body thrown, just a pile of meat. Something inside of me snapped. I was the only one who clapped for blood on the pavement. Blood on the pavement. Blood on the pavement. Blood on the pavement. To my heart, it was a lesson learned. Now I do my part, looking ahead, my car knows when to accelerate. J1s will learn when they make their mistakes. Serial killer needs a specialty. Mine is a fast-moving Chevy. Blood on the pavement, it's what I like. Blood on the pavement, it's every day, it's every night. Blood on the pavement, it's what I like. Blood on the pavement. It's every day, it's every night. Changed in driver's education, it would be a brand new sensation. Blood on the pavement. Blood on the pavement.
Welcome back, My Night Outers. DJ Psycho Eddie, George, Tommy. We're chatting about Tommy's upcoming movie release. By the way, coming in, that was Tony Jones and the Cretin 3, our own Tony Jones, with Blood on the Pavement off the Peace, Love, and Slam Dance album. Actually, you're going to be hearing from Tony a little bit later on. But Tommy, getting back to this the film you have coming up, your release is May 26th. Can you tell us a little bit of detail about the movie? Can you get into some of the plot of it?
Absolutely. The movie centers around two characters, Emily and Jackson, and they're kind of these unlikely friends. We start them off as children. We kind of see one is sort of upper middle class and has a pretty nice upbringing, and the other one is kind of the kid that everybody forgot about and from the other side of the tracks. And they're kind of unlikely pals that come together because for different reasons they both kind of get the same crap from the other kids at school, and they both kind of feel the same heat from their teachers and the environments around them. So they kind of grow together through all the stuff they have to deal with over time. And basically, as they get older, it doesn't get any better for them, and they have to make some really interesting choices about how they deal with some heavy situations, and I don't want to go too much more into detail because this is a very unpredictable movie, and there's a lot of curveballs and there's a lot of rug pulls, and the story goes in a lot of different directions. So I'm excited at the fact that people are going to start watching this movie thinking that it's one thing, and it's going to get right to the point where we think it might go in one direction, and then there's quite a few twists and turns that I think will keep the viewer a little off balance and guessing all the time. And to me, that's what's going to be most fun about it. You know, for me, I'm excited. We're going to have a little press screening in the next couple of weeks. And really, aside from myself and a couple of my really trusted colleagues, you know, we've had some test screenings, but for the most part, this is the first time that anyone out of the inner circle, so to speak, will be watching the movie. So I know all the crazy gags that are coming and the crazy turns, but it's going to be fun to sit in an audience filled with people that don't quite know what's going to happen. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to translate. So it's a big departure from my last films, which were a little more campy and fun. You know, this one's very dark, has a lot of issues that are certainly going to shake people up and maybe even considered a little controversial. But, you know, there was a lot going on in the world that, you know, I think B. Dolan and I kind of wanted to write about, and, you know, this was our chance to do so.
Now, these experiences that you portray on screen, are they from past experiences? Like, what comes up with the, what plants the seed in your mind that you want to write about this?
Really, I think it was just what's happening, you know, in the media. You know, today you turn the news on. I mean, look what's happening in Baltimore now, and you know that's certainly not the first case of it. And as a filmmaker and as an entertainer, you never want to get too political with what you do, but at the same time, I think it's hard not to, you know, if you're not, you know, at least conscious of what's going on around you, you know, you could make some mistakes, and I think it's important to point out, you know, once in a while, like entertainment can be a means to teach people a few things, and it's okay to have a message in your movie, and I'm most excited about that for Almost Mercy.
Now, this was all filmed in Rhode Island.
It sure was.
What are some of the places we could be looking forward to seeing in your movie or locations?
Well, the bulk of the movie was actually shot in the defunct Woonsocket High School / middle school. And Steven Feinberg over at the Rhode Island Film and Television Office was very instrumental in helping us lock down this location. And the mayor of Woonsocket was wonderful, and the Woonsocket Police hooked it up, the Woonsocket Fire Department. They all made sure that we were safe in this building because it's huge and it's just hasn't been touched by anybody in years. And inside of this one location, we were able to double it as a hospital, an insane asylum, a police station, an elementary school, a high school. It was just amazing. It was like a playground for us.
So it was like a typical school in Rhode Island.
Yeah, exactly. So that was one major location. But places that people will recognize, we shot some stuff on Main Street in East Greenwich, up on Pierce Street, which is the street that's parallel with Main Street. And that's a really beautiful part of Rhode Island that I think people, might not get a chance to walk around too much. But very quaint little spot there, Main Street, East Greenwich. Shot there quite a bit. Shot in my hometown of Cranston, of course. It's hard for me to make a movie in Rhode Island without doing something there. But for the most part, you know, there's a lot of interiors in this movie, and you know, it's not like you're going to see the big blue bug or anything. There's no scene near the big blue bug.
Well, just being from Rhode Island, I am obsessed with watching anything that has to do with Rhode Island on the screen because it is a rarity. Do you find that, you know, you get a really good hometown response, but once it gets to the larger markets, how do you get a response from that? Or
well,
that's
why, you know, for the most part, we try to make it as non-regional as can be. You know, this story will not just play to Rhode Islanders. But one interesting part you mentioned there is there's a really cool Rhode Island story that we get into in this movie that I don't think a lot of people and a lot of even Rhode Islanders that I know about, and that is the story of the first vampire, the legendary Mercy Brown.
Some of us in this room are very well versed in that one.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I said, a lot of people. You mentioned Mercy Brown, and they look at you. They think you're talking about the '90s Candace Cameron TV show. Was it Murphy Brown or whatever? And they're like, "Yeah, I remember that show." It's like, no, Mercy Brown. And real quick, Mercy Brown was a sad, sick little girl who was horribly misdiagnosed due to ignorant medicine at the time, and they thought she was a vampire, but it turns out she just had tuberculosis. So basically, we get into that. That's basically the story that they say crafted what we consider vampires today. So it's kind of cool. We get to a little history lesson in Almost Mercy, and it's a piece of Rhode Island history.
On a side note, where Mercy Brown was originally buried, the grave was violated so many times they actually ended up moving her. Only people from the Rhode Island Historical Society actually know where she's buried. So if you're going to go out to Vampire's grave and Mercy Brown's grave, don't bother. They're not there. Lights are on. Nobody's home. So, all right, you got the movie coming out. What's next for you?
Well, again, I talked about a little bit about B. Dolan and I getting back together to write our next screenplay. We're in the very early stages of development. We don't even have a title yet, but we've been messing with some ideas, and certainly going to involve something to do with social media and how it's affecting everybody and how everybody's turning into some kind of drone-like zombie. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's hard for me and my buddies to get together without everybody's face just being buried in some kind of phone on some kind of tweeting or playing some stupid game or some crap. And, people don't see the world that's right in front of them anymore. And I think it's been making some people go flat out a little insane. A
little.
And I find, it's definitely making us dumber. I mean, I find myself, like, speaking in text sometimes. Like cutting out words that need to be there, like "see soon" or "grab bag in car." Like you find yourself like
you're now becoming a Neanderthal.
Yeah,
grab
like
bag in car.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm talking in text now, and that when I found myself talking in text, one time I was like, "Wow, this is getting bad." But we can't shut these things off. They can't be shut off, the phones. People don't realize that.
I fortunately enough myself had an opportunity. I went away for a couple of weeks. I didn't have cell service, and it was going to cost me about $5 for $5 a gig or whatever it is for cell service and everything else. And it was so cost ineffective. I just said, screw it. I put my phone in the safe, and I didn't touch it for 2 weeks. I find I'm actually more cognizant of what's going on around me because of that. I know you're looking up instead of down into your hand.
I mean, let's face it. We've all almost crashed into a person walking in the mall or something, looking down at our phone, or everybody texts and drives. I don't care what you say. People do it. I see it 100 times a day. It's awful. It's not good.
You were talking about East Greenwich, going Main Street, East Greenwich. I've almost killed myself several times because of what was on the sidewalk, let alone the little piece of electronic equipment in my hand. I love going through there during the summer. I call it miniskirt season. When you're on a bike, it's kind of hard to text and drive or ride, but you can definitely look at the scenery. And oh my God, I've stopped short of killing myself a few times.
That's why, man. There's many dangers out there. And imagine you've got women in these skirts walking around due to the weather now, and you're texting, and you're driving, and you're playing some kind of game, and you just tweeted about. Because you just broke the new record or something. And
that's it. Well, why don't we take a break? We'll come back. We got a few upcoming events that we can chat about. This is MyNightOut Radio on Rhode Island Free Radio. We're going to leave here with Cosmic Factory. Show You. We'll be back in a minute.